Hello everyone, we're going to do a video about two-point perspective. I'm going to teach how to do two-point perspective today. You're going to be drawing a castle from a handout I copied out of the book. We're going to be following this step by step. So you all have this handout to look at me, and these are the steps that eventually to finish drawing that would look like this. All right? You should be prepared on your paper. We're going to here. You're going to be adding your own things to the drawing, things in the background, whatever knights, whatever horses, whatever things your imagination can come up with in this drawing. You're going to be adding that as well. So you should be prepared to do that. We're going to be adding details that aren't on this, like all the things learning about medieval times while you're learning to draw a two-point perspective castle. All right. So first, going to orient your paper side to side or horizontal, like we say, and you know that that's sometimes called landscape. And that's what we're doing, this landscape drawing, a two-point perspective landscape drawing. Okay, so just like step one, we're going to start out with two vanishing points. And when we start this drawing, the vanishing points, as you may or may not know, always go on your horizon, which is the line that separates the sky from the ground. So as a rule of thumb for landscapes in general, we usually don't want to put our horizon line right in the middle of our paper. And that's kind of a good rule of thumb for completing any drawing in general. We use what's called the rule of thirds in art, which means if I were to divide my paper into a big tickle board, it'd be divided into thirds both directions. And we want a horizon line either towards the top third of the paper or the bottom third of the paper. Because any subject that's right in the middle kind of makes your drawing stagnant, a little boring. If we put it off to the third, up or down, one way on the paper, it's usually going to be a little more interesting. Okay, the other thing I'm thinking about, because I'm going to make this complete drawing, is what am I going to have in this drawing? What's my view going to be? Where do I want my vantage point or my point of view to be from? Because we know that the vantage points represent a point of view in a perspective drawing. And if I want it to be above what I'm drawing, looking down on everything, I would put my vanishing points fairly low. If I'm to be looking anything, and I would put my vanishing points fairly high. Okay, and I know that I want, actually have that reversed. Your vanishing points would be up high if you want to kind of be looking down. So you'd be looking, your vanishing points would be in the upper third, and then you'd be looking down, you'd see more of the ground. If you were down low, your vanishing points represent your point of view, so that means you're low, kind of looking up at everything, you'd see more of the sky. So if you think I want to add more things to the ground in your drawing, we put our vanishing points up higher, and that's where I'm going to put mine. So physically, I'm going to draw two different points on my paper in the upper third of my paper, and that's going to represent my view. And my horizon line, I'm going to go ahead and connect those lines. And I always like to draw my horizon line by hand, because very often the horizon line is irregular. In fact, the only time it's kind of ruler straight is when you're looking at water, something like that. So I'll draw my horizon line by hand, and you do want to draw this fairly lightly, because this is going to end up being erased, a lot of it, through our castle. So especially through the center, you want to draw this pretty lightly. Sure, you can do this, are you allowed to do this on the bottom third of your paper? You can put your vanishing point anywhere on the paper. I would just avoid the middle for the most part. Okay, and if you have them low, that means you're going to be lower in paper. Your point of view lower, and you'll be kind of looking up more at everything in your drawing. Right, the next step, step number 2 on our sheet right here, you're going to end up being, this is a little misleading in the sheet because this is so tiny. You don't want to make this so tiny on your own paper. You want to make it bigger. These end up being sides of our castle here. So those 3 lines are going to represent the corners or the edges of your castle. Okay? So wherever you want the castle to be, again, I avoid the middle of my paper. Go ahead and make this line vertical, which is straight up and down. That's a confusing part. That's a good rule for any perspective drawing, is to try to remember vertical, parallel to the outside of my paper, right, and straight up and down. If you don't draw your line straight up and down, then they end up looking, your castle or whatever drawing, end up looking crooked. This is going to be the top of my castle, and that's going to be the bottom of my castle. So however big you want your castle to be in this picture, however tall, that's how long I make these lines. Okay, we're going to draw the back left edge of my castle here, and this is going to be shorter just because it's further away. So that's where I want the back edge. And again, be careful, line it up with the outside edge of your paper make that vertical. And that's the back left side of my castle. And parallel to this side, this would be the front corner. Parallel to that line, I'm going to draw the back right side castle. Like that. Okay, and you can see I do it significantly on your handout. Okay, the next step is 3, and we draw the sides of the castle here. So this is a cube that we're drawing, and we're going to draw the sides of the cube. And the way you do that is by drawing what we call receding lines. Receding lines are lines that appear like they're going back. So the front of the castle is close to us. This hopefully is going to end up looking like it's further away. We line a ruler up with our vanishing point here and the bottom edge of my castle. Don't worry about this. You see that I drew a little short. I can correct that. All right, this is what we're worried about right here from the front, and it's going to go back, and my line's really stop there, but I'm going to continue it very lightly just to show you that it goes back to the vanishing point. But that is the bottom left edge of my cube, which is going to end up being my castle. And I can go ahead and connect that if I want to. Whenever I want to do that is fine. Okay, realize I made probably both of these a little short. All right, we can continue the bottom of the castle here, like this. You're lining a ruler up. The edge of your ruler lines up with the vanishing point here. And I leave a space because of the thickness of my pencil. Right, and this is a part in drawing. That's the bottom edge of my castle. If I continue that line, it would go way back to the vanishing point. And using your imagination, hopefully you can see where this is coming, like a three-dimensional cube in a space. This is our sky. This is all the ground and the land in front of the sky that goes way back to the horizon. All right, we can top edge now. And a lot of this stuff's going to be, none of this should be too dark at this point. Lots of this will not be part of our final drawing. So you don't want to draw dark that you can't erase it, or it leaves marks or ruins your paper when you go to erase it. And that would also go all the way back to the vanishing point. So you're going to the top edge here, the top corner, line the ruler up with your vanishing point there, and go ahead and draw that line.